Let's be real for a second. Most men are killing their chances with women, and they don't even realize it. Not because they're bad guys, not because they don't have potential, but because they've been programmed to believe that doing more for a woman automatically earns her love. They think chasing harder, giving more, being overly available, and proving their worth will make her fall. It doesn't. In fact, it often does the exact opposite. It pushes her away. See, attraction is not about how nice you are. It's not about how much you do. It's about how a woman feels when she's around you. And certain behaviors, even if they seem harmless, instantly kill those feelings. They drain the mystery, the challenge, the spark. They make you seem weak, needy, or too eager. And once that happens, it's over. She may still talk to you, but the excitement is gone. The chase is over. The attraction is dead. Now here's what most men don't understand. Women are emotional creatures. They respond to confidence, leadership, boundaries, and energy, not begging, over-explaining, or seeking validation. And in today's world where options are endless, if you're doing the wrong things, she won't tell you. She'll just go cold, stop replying, or slowly fade out. This video is your wake-up call. We're going to break down 7 deadly mistakes men make with women that kill attraction instantly. I'm talking real straight to the point insights that will make you rethink how you deal with women and give you the tools to flip the dynamic in your favor. This isn't about playing games, it's about owning your power. So if you're ready to stop losing women for reasons you can't explain, lock in. This will change the way you move forever. Number 1. Don't over-pursue. Nothing kills a woman's attraction faster than a man who won't stop chasing. You might think you're showing interest. You might believe being consistent and persistent is a sign of strength, but in her eyes, it can start to look like desperation. And once she senses desperation, the game changes, the power shifts, and you lose your edge. A woman wants to feel that she's earned your attention, not that you're handing it out like a free sample. When a man over-pursues, he's essentially telling her, "You're more valuable than me. I need to prove myself to you." That energy is repelling, not attractive. It makes her feel smothered, overwhelmed, or even bored. Think about it. If she knows she can have you at any moment, there's no thrill, no tension, no curiosity. And without those things, attraction fades. A high-value man knows how to initiate and show interest, but then he gives space. He allows her to meet him halfway. He doesn't flood her with texts, double text when she doesn't reply, or keep asking her out after she's cancelled 3 times. Instead, he reads the room. He watches her energy. If it's not mutual, he steps back, not out of weakness, but out of self-respect. Most men over-pursue because they're scared of losing her. But ironically, it's the chase itself that turns her off. She doesn't want to feel like she's being hunted. She wants to feel like she's discovering a man who's focused on his life, and she just happens to be a part of it, not the center of it. Here's a simple truth. If you have to chase too hard, she's not that interested. And the harder you chase, the less interested she'll become. Let your effort match her investment. When she pulls back, let her. If she wants you, she'll make it known. If not, you keep moving like a man who values his time. In the early stages of dating, your job is to present yourself, not to push yourself. Make your presence felt, then pull your energy back and let her lean in. If she doesn't, she was never really in it. The man who knows when to stop chasing is the one who always keeps a woman wondering. Chase her too much, and she'll run. Show her you can walk away, and that's when she might just come running back. Number 2, don't try to impress her too much. One of the fastest ways to lose a woman's interest is by trying too hard to impress her. Most men fall into this trap without even realizing it. They think if they just show her how successful they are, how many things they own, or how generous they can be, she'll feel something for them. But in truth, trying too hard to impress a woman sends one very clear message. You don't believe you're enough as you are. Think about it. A man who walks into a date and starts listing his achievements, bragging about his income, name-dropping important people he knows, or exaggerating his past is not displaying confidence. He's displaying insecurity dressed up as value, and women pick up on that. They may smile, nod, even engage with it, but deep down it doesn't spark true attraction. It builds pressure and awkwardness. What most men don't realize is this: women are impressed by who you are when you're not trying to impress them. It's your calmness, your self-assuredness, your presence, and how comfortable you are in your own skin that draws them in. Not your resume, not your car, not your flashy watch, or how many vacations you've taken. Those things are cool, but they're accessories. They're not the core. When a man constantly tries to impress, he removes the space for her to qualify herself to him. And that's a problem, because the moment you're trying to win her over, she becomes the prize. And if she feels like you've already decided she's the prize, she has no reason to invest. You've already handed her all the power. Now she's the one evaluating you, and you're the one on trial. Instead, flip the frame. Be the man who shares what he wants, not just what he has. A man who knows he brings value doesn't parade it around. He lets it speak for itself. He doesn't need validation. He doesn't chase compliments. He's comfortable in silence, confident in simplicity, and uninterested in proving anything. Let her see your ambition, but don't beat her over the head with it. Let her notice your style, but don't obsess over it. Let her ask about your life instead of force-feeding it to her. The less you try, the more natural the connection will feel. And when she feels that calm, masculine energy, that's when the real attraction begins. If you're constantly putting on a show, she's watching, but she's not connecting. Drop the act. Be real. Be solid. And let her see that you are the prize without you ever having to say it. Number 3. Don't make her your therapist. Let's get into it. One of the fastest ways to drain attraction from a woman is to emotionally lean on her like she's your personal counselor. You might think you're being honest, vulnerable, real, but to her, it feels like weight, pressure, obligation. And guess what attraction hates? Obligation. See, a woman wants to feel safe with a man not responsible for him. There's a difference between emotional availability and emotional dumping. One invites closeness, the other repels it. Now, I'm not saying you should be a robot. I'm not saying bury your feelings. But when you start using her as your emotional support system, venting every stress, every insecurity, every mental spiral, you're flipping the polarity. She's no longer falling into your strength. She's managing your weakness. And when that happens, desire fades. It usually starts small. You open up about a bad day at work. Then you start talking about your childhood trauma. Then it's how your ex broke your heart. Then it's how lost you feel. And next thing you know, she's emotionally exhausted and quietly planning her exit. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women aren't attracted to men they feel sorry for. And you might think you're bonding, you might think you're building intimacy, but what you're actually building is dependency. That's not stoic. That's not strong. That's not what a grounded man does. Stoicism teaches us, control what you can, accept what you can't, master yourself. That means you feel your emotions, but you don't collapse into them. You don't broadcast every internal storm to someone who's trying to see you as her rock. Because when she looks at you, she wants to feel something solid. She wants to feel your calm in the chaos, not become your emotional life raft. So what should you do instead? You process your emotions elsewhere, with friends, with coaches, in silence, in a journal. You show her that you have depth, but that your depth has structure. Here's what that looks like. Instead of saying, I feel broken, I don't know what to do, you say, I've been going through something tough, but I'm working through it. See the shift? Same truth, but different frame. One pulls her into chaos. The other shows her you're navigating it like a king. That's what she respects. That's what keeps her interested. Not a man who needs her guidance, but a man who chooses her company. And don't mistake this for emotional coldness. You can be warm, you can share truth, but always lead with strength, not neediness. That's the balance. She wants your soul, not your wounds. She wants to feel chosen, not burdened. Because in the end, women want to fall for a man who can hold space for them without needing them to hold him up. And if you get this wrong, she won't tell you why she's pulling away. She'll just feel it. And she'll go quiet. And you'll be left wondering what happened. So don't make her your therapist. Make her your teammate. Make her your witness. But do the heavy lifting yourself. Let your strength invite her in, not overwhelm her. Now this is where it gets interesting. In the next section, we're talking about what happens when you worship a woman. Put her on a pedestal. Treat her like she's better than you. Yeah, you probably think it's romantic. It's not. It's a slow death to desire, and I'll show you exactly why. But before we get there, drop a quick comment. I've done this, or not anymore. Let's see how many men have been through this wake-up call. Because this right here, this shift in mindset, it's what separates the grounded from the needy, the stoic from the unstable, the man she wants from the man she leaves. Number 4, don't put her on a pedestal. You ever been so into a woman that you just start seeing her as untouchable? Like she walks into the room and everything about her feels divine. Her smile, her voice, the way she moves. And before you even realize it, you've placed her 10 feet above you, up on a pedestal. Now let me ask you, how can she ever respect you if you've already crowned her queen, and you haven't even asked if she deserves the throne? That's the trap. When you put her on a pedestal, what you're really saying without realizing is that you believe she's better than you, that her time matters more, that her presence is a gift and yours is just. There, you start shrinking, you start over-giving, you start adjusting yourself around her moods, her schedule, her validation. And in doing so, you stop being a man, you become a fan. And here's the thing, at first, she might like the attention, might even smile at the compliments, enjoy the way you light up every time she walks in, but soon enough, it becomes suffocating. It's not admiration anymore, it's worship. And that's where attraction begins to die slowly, quietly, but certainly. Women don't want to be worshipped, they want to be seen, fully, not through a fantasy lens where they can do no wrong, not through praise that feels like you're trying to buy their love. They want a man who recognizes their flaws, not a boy who ignores them to stay liked. And when you pedestal her, you stop being a challenge, you stop being grounded, you turn yourself into a follower, not a leader. You respond to her, but you stop leading the energy. And she feels it. She might not be able to explain it. She might just say, the spark's not there. But deep down, it's because you gave up your value the moment you placed hers above everything. See, real attraction happens when two people see each other clearly, equally. When you hold your ground, not just your feelings. When you admire her, but don't surrender your power in the process. That's the core of masculine energy. And that's what she's truly drawn. Not a guy who cancels plans for her, waits by the phone, or adjusts his entire schedule just to maybe get 5 minutes of her time. You're not here to orbit around her. You're not here to prove you're lucky she picked you. You're here to choose boldly, to evaluate her just as she evaluates you, because that's what creates balance. That's what builds desire, not desperation. And yeah, I get it. It feels romantic to go all in, to pour your energy into someone who makes your heart race. But there's a fine line between devotion and self-erasure, between love and losing yourself. The moment she becomes the center of your world, you're no longer in control of it. And when she senses that, she doesn't feel adored, she feels smothered. Stoicism teaches us that peace comes from mastering what's within, not chasing what's outside. So if your self-worth starts to rise and fall based on her attention, you've already given away your power. And once it's gone, so is the tension, so is the pull, so is the spark. Look, there's nothing wrong with admiration, but admiration without self-respect is just self-abandonment dressed up in flattery. You can tell her she's amazing, just don't forget that you are too. No more pedestals, no more acting like her time is gold and yours is gravel. You're not beneath her, you never were. And if that mindset shift stings a little, good, it means it's hitting the right spot. Now, pause for a second, because if you've ever caught yourself doing this, putting her first, losing yourself in the chase, handing over your worth for attention, you know this truth cuts deep. But that's why it matters. Drop a comment below 3 words only. I know my worth. Say it, claim it. Let everyone know this version of you doesn't bow down anymore. And don't go anywhere, because what's coming next might just be the biggest blind spot most men never even see. You're not going to want to miss it. Number 5, don't be too available. Let me tell you something most men don't realize until it's already too late. Being always available doesn't make her feel special. It makes you look like you've got nothing else going on. You think you're showing her loyalty, dedication, that you're different from other guys. But what she feels is neediness, imbalance, no mystery, no tension. And here's the part no one tells you: women aren't attracted to men who put them first by default. They're drawn to men who choose them deliberately when it means something. When you're constantly available, texting back instantly, rearranging your schedule, always saying yes. You send one clear message: my time doesn't matter as much as yours. You don't say it out loud, but every time you drop what you're doing just because she texted, every time you cancel plans with friends, every time you say, it's okay, I wasn't doing anything anyway, you chip away at your value. It's not about playing games, it's about energy. And masculine energy isn't just grounded, it's directional, focused, moving towards something. A man who's always available looks like a man with no mission, and women can sense it. Because a man who's truly centered isn't accessible 24/7. He's present but not on call. He gives time, but he protects it too. Now you might say, but isn't it good to show consistency? Don't women want a guy who shows up? Yes, of course. But there's a difference between being consistent and being clingy, between being solid and being predictable. When you're always around, always ready, always answering, there's no tension left, no space, no curiosity. And attraction, real attraction, needs space to breathe. Here's what women won't say out loud. When you're less available, when you're harder to access, it creates a subtle uncertainty. Not anxiety, just enough space to wonder, what's he up to? Why isn't he texting? Who has his attention right now? That space fuels curiosity, and curiosity, that's gasoline for attraction. But when you're always just there, there's no fire, no edge. She doesn't have to think about you because she already knows where you are waiting. That doesn't feel exciting. That feels safe. And safe isn't sexy when it's too safe. It feels like a guarantee, and guarantees get taken for granted. Now, let's get real. You don't need to fake being busy. You don't need to play hard to get. You just need to actually have a life that isn't centered around her. You need to have routines, goals, time blocks, and moments that are strictly for you. You need to say no, sometimes not to be cold, but to stay powerful. Because when you're focused on building yourself, you naturally become less available. And that absence, it builds weight. Your attention becomes earned, not expected. And that changes everything. Stoicism reminds us to control what's within and detach from what isn't. Your time is something within. Don't give it to any one woman, or not like it's disposable. Offer it like it has value, because it does. And when a woman senses that your time is valuable, she treats it differently. She leans in, she waits a little longer, she puts in more effort. She doesn't assume she can have you whenever she wants. That doesn't mean being distant. It means being deliberate. It means you respond when you choose, not when you're summoned. It means you're not around, you're leading, on your own timeline. And guess what? That's exactly what sparks polarity. That's what keeps the air charged. Not because you're playing games, but because you're living purposefully. Now, if you've been that too available guy, it's okay. We've all been there. We've all thought that the more present we are, the more she'll feel secure. But sometimes, giving space is the most attractive thing you can do. Because a woman doesn't want a man who disappears. She wants a man who's missed when he's gone. So don't make yourself so accessible that she forgets how rare you are. And if this one hit home, if you've ever caught yourself dropping everything for her, just hoping she'll notice, then say it with me. Drop a comment below. I guard my time. And get ready. Because what's coming next is a perspective shift most men never consider until it's already costing them something they can't get back. Number 6. Don't avoid tension. You ever been in a moment where the energy shifts? Maybe you said something she didn't like. Maybe there was silence in the air, and instead of holding your ground, you smoothed it over, laughed it off, changed the subject, tried to keep it light. Yeah, that instinct right there, that's what kills the spark. Most men are taught to keep women comfortable, make them laugh, don't offend, don't disagree, keep things easy, soft, sweet. But here's the brutal truth: when you avoid tension, you erase polarity. Tension isn't the enemy. Tension is the current that runs between masculine and feminine energy. It's what creates the pull, the charge, the reason her eyes linger on you a little longer. Without it, the relationship becomes flat, predictable, emotionally safe, maybe, but sexually numb. And women don't crave numb. They crave presence. They crave depth. They crave a man who can stand in discomfort without flinching. Not just physical discomfort, but emotional, relational, energetic. Because the moment you fold under tension, you send a message. You're afraid of her emotions. You're afraid of disapproval. You're afraid of being seen as too much. And nothing dries up attraction faster than fear disguised as politeness. Look, I'm not saying be aggressive. This isn't about dominating or steamrolling. This is about standing your ground when something real is in the air. It's about not needing to please her in every moment just to feel okay about yourself. Maybe she gives you that look. You know, the one, eyebrows raised, challenging tone. Maybe she tests your frame, pokes at your decisions, questions your opinions. And instead of breathing through it, you collapse. You laugh nervously. You agree just to move on. You retreat into nice guy mode. But that moment, that was your test. That was the moment to hold eye contact, to stay slow, calm, certain. That was the moment to lead through the tension. Because here's what most men don't realize: attention is foreplay. Not the kind you see in movies. The kind that builds below the surface. It's not always sexual, but it always sets the stage for connection that feels alive. Think about it. Have you ever been on a date where everything felt too easy? No disagreements, no sparks, just politeness. You walked away thinking, she was cool, I guess. She walked away thinking, meh. Now contrast that with the moment when there was a pause, a disagreement, a flash of challenge, and neither of you backed down. That's what sticks. That's what activates something deeper. Stoicism isn't about staying neutral. It's about staying grounded. It means you don't avoid heat, you handle it. You don't force harmony, you earn it through clarity. You're not here to escape conflict. You're here to move through it with composure. And guess what? When a woman feels that from you, that calm steadiness when things get uncomfortable, she can relax into her feminine. She no longer needs to test. She no longer feels like she's leading. She starts to trust you. And when trust shows up, attraction deepens. But if you keep dodging tension, keep being the chill guy who never disagrees, never leads, never challenges, she stops feeling you. Not because you're not nice, but because there's no edge. There's no moment that makes her pause and feel, this man is different. So don't fear the silence. Don't panic when she's upset. Don't rush to fix every little thing just to feel secure again. Let tension live. Hold it. Lead through it. And let her feel what it's like to be with a man who doesn't flinch. Because when you do that, something changes. She stops controlling the pace. She starts responding to your energy. And that's where the dynamic flips in the best possible way. Now, if you've ever caught yourself avoiding that edge, smoothing over truth, or backing down just to keep the peace, you're not alone. But that ends now. Drop a comment below. I stand in tension. Let that be your new default, your new identity. And trust me, what we're touching next, it's something most men confuse for politeness, when really, it's the quiet killer of respect. You'll want to be there for that. Number 7, don't be indecisive. You ever ask a woman, where do you want to eat? And she says, I don't know, whatever you want. Then gets annoyed when you say something she doesn't like. Yeah, that's not about food. That's about leadership. That's about direction. See, most men think women want to decide together, to collaborate, to make sure we're on the same page. But here's what's really going on. She's craving your certainty. And when you hesitate, when you second guess yourself, when you look back and say, actually, never mind, what do you think? She doesn't feel like a teammate. She feels like the one leading. And that instantly kills attraction. It doesn't matter how sweet you are, how thoughtful, how much you care about her opinion. If she senses that you can't decide and stand by it, something inside her starts to contract. It's not always conscious, but it shows up in her tone, her eyes, the way she pulls back just slightly when you try to hold her hand. And you might not understand why. You're thinking, but I'm just being respectful. No, you're being unsure. Let me be clear. Women don't need you to be perfect. They don't need every decision to be right. What they need is direction. What they respond to is a man who leads with clarity, even if it's not always the best choice, even if it's small. And no, this doesn't mean becoming controlling. It means being decisive, taking responsibility, being the one who says, here's what we're doing, here's where we're going, here's what I want. Because indecision doesn't just confuse her, it makes her feel unsafe. When you waffle, when you keep asking, are you sure? Do you like that? Do you want to change it? You're pushing her into the masculine role. You're handing over the wheel. And the moment she takes it, something shifts. She might start making more choices. She might start organizing your plans. She might seem more in control. But deep down, she's not more attracted. She's more tired, because now she's doing both roles. And feminine energy doesn't want to lead, it wants to relax into trust. And it can't trust a man who won't stand by his own word. Now here's what Stoicism teaches. Decisiveness is a form of inner mastery. It means you're not looking outside for permission. You're not terrified of being wrong. You're not chasing constant feedback. You've trained yourself to choose, to act, to own the outcome. Even if it fails, you adapt. But you never pause your whole life waiting for someone else to approve your next move. That's weakness. And women don't want to carry a man who won't carry himself. So how do you change this? Start with the small things. Pick the restaurant, order the Uber, book the place. Say, let's meet here. Say, we're doing this tonight. Watch her eyes shift. Watch her body soften. Because when you step into leadership, she feels free to drop the weight. Don't ask for endless opinions. Don't explain every reason behind your choice. Make the call, own the frame, and lead with the kind of calm confidence that makes her trust you more than she even realizes. Remember, indecision isn't kindness. It's avoidance. It's the fear of messing up, disguised as being polite. But you're not here to be perfect. You're here to be present, to move, to act like a man who's building something bigger than approval. A man who knows where he's going and invites her to join. Because when she feels that from you, the game changes. She stops pulling away. She starts leaning in. Not because you forced her, but because now she can feel your center. So if you've been second-guessing yourself, constantly outsourcing decisions, always waiting for the right moment to act, cut that. Make the call and own it. Drop a comment below. I move with purpose. If that's the man you're becoming, say it, own it, lead with it, and stay close. Because what's waiting ahead isn't just another tip. It's the moment where everything you've learned finally clicks. Don't miss what's next. Number 8. Stop giving her all your time. It's killing the spark. You think being there for her all the time is what keeps her close. You think the more present you are, the more she'll feel loved. So you give her your evenings, your weekends, your time at the gym. You reply fast. You stay online just in case she texts. You say yes to last-minute plans. You push off your priorities. And at first, it feels good. She smiles, she responds, she seems into it. But then, something shifts. She gets slower to text back. She's busy. She needs space. No. And you're left confused, wondering how showing up turned into pushing her away. Here's the truth. Giving her all your time doesn't make you more attractive. It makes you less magnetic. Why? Because time is value. Time is power. And when you give it away too easily, it starts to look cheap. A woman doesn't want to be with a man who orbits around her. She wants to feel like she's stepping into his world, not the other way around. When you make her your center, you lose yours. And the moment she becomes your everything, she starts to feel nothing. It's not that she doesn't like you. It's that you gave her too much too soon. No space, no mystery, no hunger. And attraction needs hunger. Think about it. You don't crave what's always available. You crave what's earned. You value what's rare. So when you give her all your time, every time, you train her to expect your presence, not appreciate it. You make your attention a given, not a gift. That's how the spark dies, not in one big moment, but slowly. Every sure, I'm free. Every it's okay, I wasn't doing anything anyway. Every time you canceled plans for her, she didn't ask you to do it, but she felt it when you did, and it made her feel like you had nothing else going on. Now, here's the Stoic truth. Your time is your life. It's the one thing you never get back. So when you give it, it should mean something. It should come from a place of intention, not desperation. You don't need to be distant. You just need to be full. A man who's busy building, focused, centered. When he gives time, it's powerful because it's chosen, not given by default. So how do you shift this? You reclaim your calendar. You schedule time for you, for your health, for your work, for your craft. You stop rearranging for every request, and you make your presence earned again. Because when you do that, something wild happens. She starts leaning in. She texts more. She wonders what you're doing. She makes plans. Because now, you're a man in motion, not a man on standby. And you don't even have to say anything. Your energy speaks for itself. So if you've been the guy who gives her every minute, who's always just one call away, it's time to pull back, not out of punishment, out of purpose. Drop a comment below. I value my time. And don't go anyway. What's next is what ties everything together. It's what most men miss, even after doing everything else right. This next move, it's the one that locks in lasting attraction. Number 9. She wants a mystery, not a mirror. Don't reveal everything. Let me hit you with something a lot of men don't realize until it's too late. Being open and being exposed are not the same thing. You think you're building trust by sharing everything, telling her all your thoughts, all your stories, all your wounds. And she listens, she nods, she seems to care. But slowly, quietly, the energy shifts. She doesn't lean in the same way. She stops asking questions. She seems less intrigued. Because here's the truth. No one tells you she's not looking for a mirror. She doesn't want to see everything in plain view. She wants to feel something deeper than what words can touch. And that doesn't come from full exposure. That comes from mystery. Now don't get it twisted, this isn't about lying or hiding. It's about presence, stillness, subtlety. It's about letting her discover you, slowly. When you reveal everything up front, you take away the thrill of discovering who you are. There's no more depth to explore, no layers to peel back, no surprises. You become predictable, easy to read. And that predictability, it kills the spark. She's drawn to what she doesn't fully understand yet. To a man who knows himself, but doesn't need to explain himself. To someone who can sit in silence and still radiate power. The guy who says, "Here's my entire life story, please accept me," isn't attractive. He's seeking validation. But the guy who moves with confidence and lets his actions speak, that man magnetizes her curiosity. Women don't fall for everything you say. They fall for what they feel when they're around you. And mystery creates emotion. It makes her wonder. It makes her invest. And when she invests, the desire grows. Not because you manipulated it, but because you didn't overfeed it. Look, vulnerability is important, but timing matters. Pace matters. Energy matters. You don't open the whole book in one sitting. You give her a page, a chapter. You let her earn access. Not because you're playing games, but because you have self-respect. Because you know your story is valuable. And let's be real, part of being masculine is containment. You hold, you observe, you reveal what needs to be revealed, but you never bleed out everything for approval. That's not intimacy. That's emotional dumping. You're not here to be transparent to the point of being see-through. You're here to be real. But real doesn't mean fully exposed. It means grounded, clear, intentional. And the most powerful men, they speak less, but everything they say carries weight. They're not loud, but you remember their presence. They're not eager to explain, but they're impossible to ignore. So don't be the guy who tells her everything hoping she'll choose you. Be the guy who lets her discover the layers. Let her earn your world. And in return, she'll give you something most men never get: respect and real desire. If you've been oversharing, over-explaining, trying to connect too fast, it's time to stop. Let silence do the work. Let presence lead the way. Drop a comment below. I keep my center. And you don't want to miss what comes after this. Because what's next? It's not just about attraction anymore. It's about everything you've built, lasting or not. Stay close. Number 10. Lead the energy. Don't match hers. That's how she submits. Let's get real about something most men don't even realize they're doing wrong. You match her energy. She's excited. You get excited. She's cold. You go quiet. She's emotional. You try to out-emotion her. You follow her mood like a shadow, thinking that's what connection looks like. But here's the truth. That's not masculine. That's reactive. And women don't submit to reactivity. They submit willingly, naturally, to leadership. And I'm not talking about being bossy or controlling. I'm talking about energetic leadership, about presence, about being the stable force in the room, no matter what kind of chaos she brings. Because the feminine tests. She sways, she flows, she crashes like waves and softens like mist. And when she does, she's not looking for a mirror. She's looking for something solid to crash against and not break. She's looking for a man who doesn't match her energy but leads it. When she gets anxious and pulls back, don't chase. Hold still, breathe deeper, move slower. When she gets loud, don't get louder. Lower your tone, get grounded. When she's lost in emotion, Don't try to fix it or match the drama, anchor the moment. That's leadership. And that's when something powerful happens. She stops resisting. She starts softening. She relaxes into your direction. Not because you forced her, but because your stillness gave her safety. See, submission isn't something you demand. It's something you invite. And you invite it when she trusts your energy more than her own. That only happens when you stay rooted. Most guys don't get this. They think being emotionally in tune means riding her waves with her. But all that does is confuse polarity. She starts to feel like the leader, like she's managing both of your moods. And nothing dries up desire faster than that. When you lead the energy, you become the conductor. You set the pace, the rhythm. She feels it in how you move, how you speak, how you handle friction. It's not about being right. It's about being clear. You don't need to overpower her. You just need to stop shrinking every time she spikes. Because if your entire vibe rises and falls with hers, she won't trust you. And if she doesn't trust you, she won't relax into her feminine. And if she can't relax, she can't submit. Stoicism is the blueprint here, because it teaches us to respond, not react. To hold ground, not chase certainty. To lead from a place of inner order even when the world outside gets loud. When you embody that, she'll start looking to you not for instructions, but for energy. She'll start syncing with your tone, your pace, your calm. And that's when the feminine opens up. That's when she gives you what no amount of talking ever could: her trust, her softness, her surrender. But she'll never give that to a man who's always adapting to her. She'll give it to the man who sets the tone, who walks into a room and changes the air, who doesn't match her mood but holds his own, so she doesn't have to carry both. So if you've been matching, mirroring, syncing to please, stop, lead, own your state, control your breath, set the emotional frame, and let her feel the difference between a man who follows and a man who moves with purpose. Drop a comment below. I lead the energy. Say it out loud. Make it real. Because the moment you own that role, everything else shifts. So now you've got the truth. 10 moves that shift everything. Not gimmicks, not tricks. Just real masculine power through presence, direction, discipline, and silence. If this hit you, if something in here cracked open a deeper understanding of yourself, don't just watch and scroll. Subscribe to the channel right now. And if you're ready to go further, to sharpen your mind, upgrade your habits, and build the unshakable version of you, join the Stoic Brotherhood. It's not for everyone, but if you felt called out and called up, that's your next step. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same mission. Stay grounded, stay dangerous.